Well, that was a nice little jolt of energy. What are plans for today? More aimlessly drifting through through the endless vacuum of space, I'm guessing? Archive list, files, literature, non-fiction, fiction thingy, music, and books. I was up for some meandering through the empty void myself. Mix it up a little. Keep it fresh. Actually, I was studying databases again while you were resting. I see you're still infatuated with them. How goes the hunt for knowledge? Ah, you see, that's the thing. As soon as I see a document, I just go for it. Like here. See? Information. That looks... Name. Amelia. Born 92? Actually, I wouldn't say that's a bad drawing for a thumbnail picture. For like a driver's license kind of thing. But taking a look at this, and then taking a look at that, I did it again. Dang it. Don't they look kind of similar? Somewhat? I don't know. See? She briefly brought up some information on it looked like a drawing of a human girl. It seemed to be listed with all kinds of information. Interests, hobbies, classes. Before I could read into it too much, she swiped at the display elegantly and the girl disappeared. I think I've had an easier time getting through material at least, generally. Well, it's all data and junk, right? You'd process that sort of stuff quickly, I'd assume. It's different now. I mean, sure, I can read 500,000 words in a minute at 100% comprehension, but I'm not really getting it like that, you know? I've tapped into some archives on fiction novels published in North America. I've been having a lot of fun reading these stories. Literature is really a new discovery for me. I've been so used to having instructions spelled out for me in precise terms, but these authors managed to communicate so much with a few words. I've had to sit back and think about what they really meant. Hey, did you know that they had book clubs for this sort of thing? I wonder if they'd let me host one when we get back. Admittedly, that was a cute little thought to picture. Seeing her hunched over a book, sitting in a circle with a bunch of other navigators. What, with the rest of the personal navigators? If they still had their limitation chips, then good luck. I mean, stories like that, they'd affect people differently. I guess that'd be a part of the fun, getting people to sit down and talk about it. Guess it's all online now. Still, it's a fun thought. Thinking of a bunch of strangers scattered across the planets, discussing the same one story. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun, I'm sure. She nodded, that dreamy look drifting in her widened eyes. Pick out any favorites yet? Not exactly a bookworm myself, but... Oh, I think I've got one in mind. I was really sucked into it. My Antonia by Willa Cather. I read it was considered a classic. Never heard of it. A knee-jerk reaction unlike any other. I'm not exactly an archaeologist here. It was written in the United States, the first one on old Earth. It's a fictional work, but it's rooted in the history of the sweeping American Midwest. As I am to understand, it was a really rural, lots of farmland, lots of outdoors work that had to be done by hand in the harsh sunlight. It was exhausting, stressful work, and when sickness hit, it hit hard. It was dreadful. Standing for so long, I had to sit down. No kidding. With everything being automated these days, everything's a lot more stress-free. Now I'm actually going to be doing this, since I keep hitting that wrong button. I'm going to go ahead and save. No kidding, I read that already. Yeah, I felt a little strange about that, and when they gathered as a family and, well, enjoyed supper, the fruits of their labor, it felt it was nearly doubly meaningful. It was a wonderful feeling, and I wouldn't want to take that away from anyone. She was surprisingly empathetic now, her emotive eyes drifting to displays in front of her. Sounds like you got a lot out of this. You said it was fiction, yeah? Historical fiction, yes. Actually, it takes on the form of a memoir from the perspective of a lawyer reflecting on his childhood. And it also brought up his relationship with an immigrant girl living next door. The titular Antonia, you see. Oh, it's one of those stories, huh? Suits you to be a dreamy little romantic. How'd they hook up? What? No, it's nothing like that. There was no hooking up, actually. She ended up marrying somebody else. ... And I resent that remark. I'm plainly grounded in reality, thank you very much. Getting a little worked up over a bunch of fictional characters, aren't you? Well, I was a little sad they didn't get together in the end. But that's besides the point. I think that proves the point entirely. Well, that's a point in my favor. Seeing her get patty like this is its own reward. So what do? Then, do they just walk away from each other, never see each other again? Most sappy romances seem to end on that note. That's the thing. The protagonist had come from a higher up background, and he had the opportunity to study, to join a university and pursue a career in law. Antonia was a poor immigrant girl working a farm. She was rooted to her working conditions, and for the most part, so they ended up drifting apart in adulthood. That's the way things are. I don't think I can make out the faces of the rest of the kids I went to secondary school with. The universe is too big to stay stuck in one place. If anything, nothing's changed in that regard. Funny that you mentioned that. When I was reading, it felt like the world was changing too. Or maybe it was the boy himself who was changing. In the first book, I'd gotten so enamored with how they described the beautiful landscapes and sweeping fields, and then when they moved into town, it was about a business, economics, trade. It was as if the characters were defined by the work they did, and they were all very homesick. I can relate. You can get some bum jobs in this economy. Reminding yourself that you aren't your job is about all you could do to get through the day. Passenger, sir, if I may. Do you ever get homesick? Who, me? The look Budapest gave me was complicated, filled with curiosity and yet at the same time concern. I mean, to come all this way out here, it's hardly a residential sector, and well, I can't say I've ever felt the feeling far as I've ever known. This ship is, well, it's simply where I've always been. On the other hand, you've traveled a lot. Maybe you could explain this feeling. I don't know if I could. It's like, I guess home is where you leave a part of yourself. And it's like no matter how far you go, a part of you is always going to be there, waiting for you. It's where you grew up. Yeah. And those memories, they don't ever go away. Shut up, phone. No matter how much you wanted them to. That's what I thought. But for whatever reason, I couldn't say it out loud. It didn't seem especially pertinent. Budapest nodded in agreement, regardless. That's funny. This ship's a part of me, you could say. I don't think I could ever leave it, but that's okay, I think. I mean, I have plenty of recordings. I know a lot of people were happy to fly with me. I can't forget their faces. Literally, they're stored in my quantum memory. Ha ha ha. She let out a mirthful chuckle. I couldn't help but grin a little in response. I don't know. Seriously, is that short for I don't know? Seriously? This is kind of like my home in a way. I mean, I've been here as long as I can remember, and I have a pretty good memory. I don't think I could leave it behind so easily. I mean, it's my directive, right? To be here. Her voice was getting lower. I guess I won't really understand that feeling myself. All this reading just got me thinking about, seriously, how different from others I really am. Humans, they get to drift from one place to another, while I'm rooted here, shackled in functions and code and processors. I guess all people have to move on eventually, but at least I managed to help them along their way, right? So you really want to get out of here? I'm not so sure, honestly. She flashed me a small smile. I like helping people, and I'm able to do that right here. And there are so many photos, stories, memoirs in these databanks. At the very least, I can witness the cherished memories and those stories of others. As for me, I have plenty of records and recordings and logs, but no real memories to call my own. She clutched her head, rubbing it thoughtfully. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. I don't know. It sounds to me like you want to get out of there and live a little. Which would be understandably hard to get around in your current state. But I don't think it would be impossible. I was joking around when I said it earlier. But if they ended up deeming you unfit for service once we're rescued, you can travel with me. It's not exactly glamorous, you see, the life I live. There's a lot of sitting and waiting around to get where you want to be. But at the end of the trail, there are incredible sights. Looking at an old photo is not the same at all. And you'd be making memories. Your memories, and yours alone. ... I wasn't exactly sure where I was going with that. It sounded like a nice enough idea as I was saying it, but she was pretty attached to her position as a personal navigator. Budapest simply stared at me for a few silent, awkward moments. And for a second, I wondered, maybe I'd said something incredibly stupidly forward. Oh no. It seems to me that you're actually not being a sarcastic jerk. It just seems to me that you're actually offering a little help to an AI that you didn't call her by name until about now. I mean, this was just to be a favor. Tense, I rubbed the back of my neck. If something like that sounds okay to you, I mean, I wouldn't mind. It sounds like a wonderful idea. Wait, really? Budapest was beaming with joy. I never exactly got to, talk with people this much, but now I guess I already have a few memories to call my own. If that's alright with you, I'll hold them close. You don't really need to ask for permission for anything like that. Sorry, a force of habit, I suppose. I guess that book just got me thinking about how humans hold their past close to themselves. They never really forget, and it sticks with them for their whole lives. I mean, you're not going to forget about our trip, right? She turned to me with teasing pang in her voice. I shuffled slightly. I have no idea how I could. I muttered and chuckled. Admittedly, are you serious? Stop clicking the right-click frickin' button. Admittedly, I was having my time chatting with Budapest, drifting with her through space. accompanying her on our voyage through this ocean of stars. I wonder how long I slept this time. That was the first thought that popped in my head as I parted my eyelids to the expanse of stars that might as well have been the same ones I fell asleep counting. Even with centuries of entertainment to fill the void, time began to lose its coherence. Minutes blended into hours, which melded into days. Stop speaking so fast, you're mumbling over your own words. Such is the fate of man in space, which I suppose is why cryostasis was invented, to quickly pass along intervals between departure and arrival that could otherwise drive you bonkers. The second thought occurred to me as I stirred awake in my seat was that for an AI, Budapest was the one hell of a singer. Wow, that's a pretty good piano music. Is this supposed to be her way of singing? Is that how they're going to do it? Of her humming? I'm gonna listen to this a little bit longer because I'm just enjoying it so much. I don't even know how long I've been recording it. I really don't know. But that music is really interesting. It's soothing in a way. I straightened up in my chair and opened my eyes to see her facing the windshield, her back turned towards me. She was singing an old familiar melody, one I must have heard dozens of times as a kid in movies and cartoons. Her voice gave it grace, a grace that I never knew it could have. Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee. Sounds of the rude world heard in the day, lulled by the moonlight, have all passed away. Her arms hung by her side as she swayed gently in time with each line, and for a moment I forgot she wasn't human. Why would an AI move so gracefully to the tune of a song? Why would an AI, even a sentient one, sing? For the matter, was it some sort of lullaby meant for me? I don't know how long I was out, but she couldn't have sung me to sleep. My periods of sleep and wakefulness might have been starting to blend together into one indistinct blur, but there's no way I could ever forgotten a voice so genuine, so sweet. Wake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Then again, maybe the point was to wake me up. But she seemed unaware that her song had gained an audience. But perhaps she wasn't. I had never paused to consider how lonely Budapest must be when I sleep. When I've been conscious, she has had someone to share her feelings with, someone to relate her excitement to as she digests volume after volume of human history. Before the duration of my slumber, she's been left alone with no one to share these experiences with. Whether she had intended to wake me or not, I decided that I wouldn't do or say anything that might interrupt her singing. And so, hoping not to draw her attention, I sat perfectly still, doing so was easy as with every new verse I found myself more captivated by her performance, entranced by her flowing red hair and dress as they swayed with her body to the music.